All right, hello once again. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And I'm going to start writing some Java programs. Not JavaScript, but Java. I've gone over the 16 chapters worth of PowerPoints from the Gaddis Java book, and now it's time to write some code. I went out and decided to use the Eclipse integrated development environment to write these Java programs in. And I went out and checked on YouTube, and I found this particular video out there. It's by a younger professor at some college, and it's called Eclipse plus Java Development Kit JDK installation on Windows 10 plus first Java project. And it is out here. I'm not going to read that because I'd probably screw it up. But the point is, if you click on that URL, you can do it. One of the things that he references in there is a site I'd never heard of before that's called ninite.com. So I went out to ninite.com and found this. So if you had a brand new computer and there was a whole bunch of stuff that you wanted to go and put on it, such as, and what you'll want to do if you're going to do this here is you'll want to choose Eclipse. And if you've got a 64-bit machine, which is, if you bought a machine in the last 2 or 3 years, should be 64-bit, but you want to check the Eclipse, and you want to check the JDK X64-8. You can look through the other stuff that's in here and make your own decision as far as whether or not there's anything in there that you want to download. After you do all that stuff, then what you find is it builds a custom installer for you. All right? So it builds this custom installer for you that's going to include every single thing that you decided you checked off. All right? So I did that. Just check the two, Eclipse and JDK X64-8. This is constantly kept updated too. So you should always get the most up-to-date Eclipse and the most up-to-date version of the Java JDK or Java Development Kit. All right? So I checked on both those, clicked the Get Your Ninite, and it probably took about 10 minutes, maybe closer to 15, I don't remember, to do it. But the point is, I now have Eclipse here. And it put Eclipse in as a okay, but it did put Eclipse in here as a what's the word I'm looking for? It put it right here as a shortcut. So I'm going to start it up. So here we go. The first thing that you'll want to do is set up a workspace. I set up a folder under my hard drive called Java. So all of my programs are going to go there. And I'm going to tell it to use this as a default and do not ask again. Make sure that you've got that set to someplace, ideally on your desktop. So I'm going to click OK, and that starts up the newest version of Eclipse, which is Neon.1. And again, Eclipse is an IDE or an integrated development environment. If you get this right here, if you get this particular screen, you're there. This is a welcome screen, and as you see, you can go through tutorials, samples, etc., how to create a simple Hello World application, and I'd really recommend that you go through that. All right? It says this cheat sheet shows you how to create the famous Hello World application and try it out. You will create a Java project and a Java class that will print Hello World on the console when you run. So it says click to begin. All right? If you're not already in the Java perspective, and I am, that means that you've got the Project Explorer there, your work area there, your error area down here, which is also your run area, your task list here, and your outline here. I really don't need I really don't need the task list or the outline, but I'm just going to minimize them both. So that maximizes my area here. So if you don't have that showing, you can click Window, Perspective, Open Perspective, And I think there's a Java one. There's the default right there. And that should get it for you as well. Now, if that confused you, again, it's right on the screen right here. If you're not already in the Java perspective, go and do all that stuff. It says click to perform, click when complete. I've already done it, so I'm not going to perform it again. Create your Hello World class. Everything in Java, since Java is an object-oriented programming language, must be done within the confines of a class. So I can either click, there's a new class button here, so I can click new, and I can choose class, or I can do a file, new, and click class. I'm just used to doing it that way. I don't know why, but that's just the way I seem to do it. All right? So this is what comes up. The source folder, it's where you want to put this. Okay? And I'm going to call this, as they say to do, Hello World. Oops. This is case sensitive. All right? So that I'll put that in, I'll put a project called Hello World in a folder called Hello World. And if we want to have a main there, and in this case we do, I'll check right there. So you put the name of your folder. In fact, let's see. Browse. It says no entries are available. I think we do want Hello World there. All right. Package will be the default package. Hello World will be the name. Now it says here that it's not letting me check because it says this doesn't exist. It says click on the new Java project, enter Hello World for the project name, all right, which is right there, and then click finish. So I guess I leave the source folder empty. Well, it's still not allowing me to do anything here. The next step is to create your class. In the main toolbar, click on New Java Class, select Hello World/source as the folder name. Okay. Hello World/src as the folder name. Enter Hello World as the class name. Select the checkbox to create main, which I did, and then click finish. But since this is colored out, it's not letting me do that. Create a new Java project. Hello World. All right, they use that. Use the project. Finish. All right, so that created that for me. Evidently, I went one step too few. So I created the Java project by following the steps that were right there. I clicked on New Project. I entered Hello World for the name. So File, New Project, New Java Project, and I entered Hello World there. That created the project for me, and I forgot to do that. I'm sorry. So right mouse click on here, New. Now I can go to Class. All right, Hello World source. We can call this Hello World. We can choose to include main. If you forget to do that, you just have to manually add it. That's all. Now notice it finishes here. So again, if I wanted to, I could click the perform, but now click to repeat, or to complete rather. I've completed. Add a print statement. So we want to add this line of code right here. Now, a couple things I like to do, you may or may not choose to do. I like my curlies on their own line. You may or may not agree with that. Either way, it's just a matter of preference, a matter of taste, whatever you want to call it. So that's how mine will look. Now, as we get more and more code in here and they get more and more complex, I like to do this. Every time I've got a curly brace, I like to put a begin or end statement along with it. That way I know what curly brace goes with what curly brace. Now you can say, well, you know by the way that you've got them tabbed. Yeah, but tabs, sometimes you remove a tab or whatever. So that's how I like to do it. All right. then to actually run the application, there's different ways you can do it. You can choose run, run. You can do a control F11. I like to just click the green arrow that's right here, which says run on it. If this works, it says, oh, you've made changes. Do you want to save? I would suggest you click the button there that says always save resources before launching. That way, if you haven't saved, it'll automatically save for you. And if you look down on the bottom, and hopefully you can see that, I can drag up so it's a little, whoops, so that's a little bigger. There's my hello world. Right there. So it worked. So that was very, very quick. All right, but we now have our first. I'm going to do a close all on here. All right. So I now have my first program finished. And when I look in my Java folder, there's Hello World. There's a metadata here. I'm going to suggest you never remove that. There's just metadata is data about data. I would just leave it alone. So I'm going to stop the first one that I'm doing right here and then come back and write a very simple payroll program for Chapter 1. I'll be back to do that shortly.